The front desk clerk hesitated before handing me the key just for a second, like she almost did not want me to take it. Then she forced a small smile and said, "Room 314. But she did not make eye contact. And I did not think much of it, because I had been driving for hours. And it was late, and I was exhausted. And all I wanted was a bed and some sleep. The hotel was one of those older roadside places. Not exactly run down, but definitely not new. And there was this faint smell of cleaning chemicals, mixed with something else I could not identify. I took the stairs instead of waiting for the elevator. And when I reached the third floor, the hallway felt empty. Not quiet in a peaceful way, but quiet in a way that felt wrong. The hallway stretched longer than it should have, with key flickering lights and identical doors. And as I walked, I read the numbers, 310311. And then I stopped, because something felt off. I stepped back and looked again, and realized there was no 312. The numbers skipped straight to 314. Like 312. And 300. 13 had been erased. And I stood there, trying to make sense of it, thinking maybe it was some kind of superstition, like how some places skip 13. But it still felt strange and unsettling. But I was too tired to care. So I went to my room and used the key card. And the door opened normally. And inside, everything looked fine. A bed, a TV, a bathroom. Nothing unusual. I dropped my bag, locked the door, checked the windows. Everything was normal. But something felt off. Not scary, just unsettling. Like the room had been used recently. The bedsheets were slightly wrinkled. The air felt warm. And the bathroom light was already on. When I walked in, I turned it off and tried not to think about it. And sometime around 1:30 in the morning, I woke up for no reason. No sound, just suddenly awake. And then I heard it. A soft knock right next to me. Not on the door, but on the wall. I sat up and listened. 2 knocks. Then a pause. Then 2 more. And it was coming from the other side of the wall. The side that should have been room 312. Except that room did not exist. The knocking continued. Slow, deliberate. Like someone was trying to get my attention. So I got out of bed and walked closer. And every step felt heavier. And the floor creaked slightly. And I stood right next to the wall. And suddenly the knocking stopped. Everything went silent. And I leaned in, trying to hear something. And that was when I heard it. Breathing slow, uneven. Right on the other side. Like someone was standing there, listening back. And I stepped away immediately. My heart racing because something was wrong. This was not just another room. Because that room should not exist. I grabbed my phone, thinking about calling the front desk, but I did not even know what I would say. So instead, I opened my door and stepped into the hallway, and it felt colder, quieter, and I looked left and right, and that was when I saw it between 311 and 314. There was a door, old, faded, like it had not been used in years, and the number was barely visible. But it was there, 314. 2, and my stomach dropped because it was not there. Before, I was sure of it. And the door was slightly open, and a dim yellow light flickered from inside. And then I heard the same knocking again. But this time, it was not coming from behind the wall. It was coming from inside that room. And I do not know why. I moved closer. Maybe curiosity or something worse. And the hallway felt colder with every step. And the air felt heavy. And I reached the door and slowly pushed it open. And inside the room looked exactly like mine. Same layout, same bed, same everything. Except someone was sitting on the edge of the bed, facing away from me, completely still. And I whispered, "Hello." But there was no response. And then they stood up slowly, too slowly, and turned around. And it was me. Same face, same clothes, same everything. But something was wrong. The eyes were empty, completely empty. And then it spoke. "You took the wrong room." And I ran. I did not think. I did not look back. I just ran straight down the stairs to the front desk. And I told them everything. And they looked confused and concerned. And then they checked the system and said something that made it worse. They said they did not have a room, 312. And then they checked my key card and paused and said, "This is not for 314. And I felt my stomach drop again. And then they said, "This key is for room 312. And I left that night. I did not stay. I did not argue. I just got in my car and drove away. But before I left, I looked up at the 3rd floor, at the window where my room should have been. And there was someone standing perfectly still watching me. And it looked exactly like me. And it did not move. Not even when I drove away. Just standing there waiting, trying to come back.